So, my fellow UK cosmetics makers, what do you guys all think of the changes to the SCPN? Because I gotta be honest, I think they are a massive pain in the... Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. It has been a long time since I saw you last. As usual, life got in the way, things have been busy, and I just haven't had time to do a video. And we weren't actually planning on doing any more videos until probably next year. But with the changes to the UK Cosmetics Portal, I thought I would just try and jump on and get something up about it and about my experiences with it so far. If you are not based in the UK or you do not sell your cosmetics, then this video is not going to be of any interest or use to you. So I would say save yourself the time and don't bother watching it, because this is purely directed towards people based in the UK who are, well, actually not even Northern Ireland, because they are part of the EU portal, so we can discount Northern Ireland as well. If you are based in England, Scotland, Wales, you know, what comes under the UK portal, then this video is for you, and it is about the changes to the SCPN. So I did a video previously where I was showing how to navigate the SCPN, but they changed it at the beginning of October, and it has caused a lot of confusion, a lot of frustration, and a lot of annoyance, because they have just made it infinitely harder for small businesses like you and I to get our products up, get them legal, and get them sold. So I just thought today I would cover how I am finding the new portal. Now in this video I do take you through uploading, well, an imaginary product of mine to the portal. Now those of you who have seen my previous video on the portal will know that I always recommend using the format to upload your recipe as listing your ingredients with their exact concentrations, and that works really well for those of you who have bespoke assessments. And by that I mean you have formulated your own recipe from scratch, you have got that assessed, you've got an assessment sent back to you for your recipe, your ingredients, and it will tell you exactly what percentage of your ingredients are present in your recipe. And in that instance, you upload using the exact concentrations. However, I know there's some of you out there who have flexi assessments, and flexi assessments are a little bit different. Those of you who use them will know what they are. Those of you who don't use them, it won't really be relevant for you anyway, because you won't need to know this bit. So if you have flexi assessments, you will know that sometimes, and I'm thinking here something like Soapwash. I use Soapwash, and I've got a couple of Soapwash Flexi bath bomb assessments, and those allow for you to kind of have a little bit more fun and play around with the ingredients a little bit. You can change the ratio of things, for example, like buttermilk powder or SLSA or SLS if you use it. You can add colours if you want to. You don't have to add colours. You can add glitters. And all of those things do slightly change the percentage of each other ingredient in your recipe. And if that is what you have been using, then you may well have been using the other option in the portal when you upload, and that is to upload your ingredients and the concentration range. And this is where the portal's going to get a little bit annoying now if you upload by concentration ranges, because for certain ingredients, the poisonous ingredients, you do need to actually now list the exact percentage of that ingredient in your recipe. And if you're not familiar with how to work out those formulas, it can be a little bit difficult. So I am going to try and do a spreadsheet as well to show you, if you have got a flexi assessment, how to list every ingredient and work out your exact percentage. So say you use a load of colour, a little bit of floral decoration on top, I'm going to hopefully get a spreadsheet up too showing you how to work out your exact percentages, because you can no longer, for poisonous ingredients, just put up the range that they fall into. And because of that, today I'm going to be going through the assessment portal as if I am uploading a product using concentration ranges rather than exact numbers, because if you've got exact numbers, it's not going to be quite as much of a change, and it's not going to be quite as confusing as it would be if you have been using ranges in the past. This video hasn't been scripted at all, so it is going to be a little bit garbled in places. I thought about sitting down and scripting one, but honestly, it's mid-October. It's been crazy. I've had about 2 days off in the last 2 months. And I just don't have the time to sit down and work out word for word exactly what I want to say, so it will be a little bit garbled. Apologies for that. I hope you can still understand it and it makes sense. Feel free to leave comments, which I will try and reply to, but again, super busy, so I may not get back to them straight away. It's just super busy at the moment, but I wanted to get something up because I know there's so many people that are struggling with it. So let's jump in to the new portal and have a look at how I upload my products to it. So the new portal starts off the same way as the previous one did, and you have to create the product first. The product name, I'm just going to write Pink Bath Bomb. This is not a real product that I'm offering. This is just a test notification to show you guys how I'm doing the new portal, and when I've done this I'm going to delete the notification, so I'm just putting Pink Bath Bomb there as an example. I don't want to add an internal reference because I don't do internal references on any of our products. And then we've got the standard questions that we had before. Is it intended to be used on children? No. Does it have nanomaterials? No. Is it a multi-item kit? No, it's a single bath bomb. And now we upload a product, an image of the product label as before. I'm just going to upload any old label. I won't show you this bit because it's boring. So I've just uploaded a random label here. Again, it doesn't have to be specific because I am only doing this as a test, so I've just uploaded the first label that I found. Right, and now the task has been completed. And instead of just being able to carry on, which you used to be able to do, you now have to click on the task list page. Go to number 2, product details, start on that. Is it different shades? No, it's not. Different shades would be things like lipsticks and eyeshadows, anything that is available in different shades. Cosmetics, bath bombs, whatnot, generally are not. So the physical form of the product, we'll go with solid or pressed powder for a bath bomb. And what is it contained in? Again, these are the kind of questions that we had before, so you should be familiar with these ones if you have used the portal before. So typical non-pressurized container. Does it contain CMR substances? No. Again, a question we've had before. What category of cosmetic product is it? So it's a bath bomb, so it is a skin product. I go with skin cleansing products and bath and shower products. And now we've got the formulation of the product, and I have always gone with list ingredients and their exact concentration. If you've got bespoke assessments, you have probably also gone with list ingredients and their exact concentration. If you have got flexi assessments, and I have got a couple of flexi assessments myself, it's possible that in the past you may have listed them as ingredients and their concentration range, because flexi assessments give you the ability to chop and change slightly with some of your ingredients, things like clays and colours. I use So Posh for my bath bomb assessments, and I do use their flexi ones, and they allow you to add different colours. And in that instance, again, you may possibly have previously gone with list ingredients and their range. And for today's sort of talk through showing, I am going to go with this one here. So I normally do the ingredients and their exact concentration because I have those exact numbers myself. But just in case you do this one, I'm going to go with this one because this is where it's going to be slightly more complicated on the next page. So now we come to adding the ingredients, and this is where everything has changed and everything has become a lot more time consuming and a lot more of a pain in the backside. We have got to add all the ingredients one by one instead of previously where we would have just uploaded a PDF showing our recipe, our ingredients, what percentage they are used at, or the concentration range. Yeah, and it's a bit of a pain. Now we need to add everything individually, and we need to use the inky names as well. The inky names, you should be able to find those on your assessment, or you should be able to find them on the SDS sheets. So let's start with citric acid, and the inky name for citric acid is citric acid, so that's an easy one. And now we need the CAS number. And CAS numbers are something that we didn't previously have to add in individually like this, and it's a bit of a pain, and I know they have been causing hassles for a few of you out there. From what I can understand, and don't take this as gospel, I am not saying that this is 100% true, but it is what I have understood, is that the CAS numbers are not mandatory. So you can skip past this without putting in a CAS number. But because they're not mandatory doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't put anything in there just to make life easier for you. It just means that you could skip past without putting anything in the CAS number field. However, if you have a CAS number available, I would definitely recommend putting it in here. And you might wonder where you can find those CAS numbers, because let's face it, how many of us out there know the CAS number for citric acid or bicarbonate of soda off the top of our heads? Probably not very many of us. So, where to find the CAS numbers? Now, a lot of my Flexi assessments, because I've got a couple of Flexi assessments from SoPosh, and those do tend to list the CAS numbers. My bespoke assessments, a lot of them don't list the CAS numbers for each ingredient. If your assessment has not got CAS numbers listed, you can generally find them by looking at the safety data sheets for your ingredients. So for example, citric acid, I have opened up my SDS form for citric acid, and right here where I've highlighted, you can see that it has actually got the CAS number listed. So I'm just going to put that 77929 number in the CAS number field. Now, there are a couple of instances where it gets a little bit more confusing. One of those instances is things like mica powders. Mica powders are generally made up of more than one component. So I've got here an SDS for a yellow mica that I use. And as you can see, in that mica, there are actually 4 different CAS numbers. Now, going back to the portal here, it will not allow me to enter 4 different CAS numbers. If I try and enter 4 different CAS numbers, when I try and proceed, it will come up with an error message telling me that my CAS number should only be up to 10 digits long or something like that. So I cannot put all 4 of those numbers for those micas here. And in that instance, I have been leaving this field blank. And again, this is just me. Do not take what I am doing as necessarily correct. I am only showing you how I am doing it. So with a mica, what I'm doing, I'm taking the CI numbers here, and I am popping them as the ingredient name, because that is the inky name there. So CI 77019 is a CI for mica. CI 77891, which I believe is titanium dioxide. And then 77492 for iron oxide. Ooh. So CI 77492. And then what I have been doing is I've been putting in brackets the name of the mica. And that is how I'm filling out things like mica powders that have multiple CAS numbers. I am leaving this field blank. Fair enough, I could go back here and just go, well, I'll just take the CAS number for mica, this single one here, and I'll put it in this field and I'll leave it like that. But then you're only actually giving part of the information of what is making up that powder. Does that make sense? I hope so. And I don't like the idea of only putting in 1 CAS number when there should be 4, because then you're only giving part of the information. And I think it's probably, in my mind, better to give no information than to only give half the information, or in this case, a quarter of the information, because then anybody who's looking at this, and we've got to remember what these forms are actually for, they're to help people who need to access the portal and need to see what's in your ingredients. You know, worst case scenario, somebody in a poison centre or a hospital who is looking up what's in your product because, you know, a kid's come in and they've eaten your bath bomb. Worst case scenario. So CAS numbers, if there is more than 1 CAS number for an ingredient, I am in that instance leaving this field blank because I don't want to only give part of the information. And I think that is a flaw with this portal, in that they won't allow you to enter more than one CAS number for a certain ingredient. And hopefully it's something they might fix, but in that instance I am just leaving it blank. And I'm happy to back up why I've left it blank if anybody from the government portal or trading standards ever asks me why I've left it blank. I'm happy to back that up. Another instance where I would leave this blank is things like buttermilk powder. Buttermilk powder does not have a CAS number. So again, for that reason, obviously, I'm leaving it blank. And the third reason why I would leave the CAS number field blank is if I cannot find a CAS number anywhere for the ingredient. And by that I mean if I cannot find it on my assessment, and if I cannot find it on the SDS form, then I will leave it blank. You could Google what is the CAS number for whatever ingredient you're looking for, and you'll probably get a number pop up. But I don't like to 100% trust Google. And if I'm not 100% sure I'm putting down the right number, then I would again rather leave it blank than potentially put in incorrect information. And the last reason why I would leave it blank is things like fragrance oils and essential oils. And again, I think they have been causing confusion because essential oils and fragrance oils are both made up of lots of different components, and those different components do have CAS numbers, but the final finished fragrance oil will not have its own CAS number. So even though all the components have CAS numbers, do not list them individually. You don't need to list them individually. You would simply just write, and this is for a fragrance oil, you would write parfum as the inky name, and again what I am doing, I am then putting in brackets what the name of the scent is. So let's take this one here that I've done before, coconut cream, and I'm putting the supplier as well. And the reason I'm doing it that way is that, again, if anyone in a hospital accesses this and needs to know what is in my product, they can see that it's parfum, but they can also quickly see the name of the scent and the company who created the scent. So if they need to, they can access or get hold of Soapwash or get hold of myself, and they can get the documents easily and quickly for that specific scent. And I would then again leave the CAS number field blank because parfum, the coconut cream, does not have its own CAS number. All of the allergens do, but I am not listing my allergens individually. And the reason I'm not listing my allergens, and I know some people do like to list their allergens here in this section, I don't list mine. And again, don't necessarily follow what I'm doing. This is only how I do it. My allergens are already listed on the prior page where you upload a picture of the product label. So the allergens will show on that product label. So anybody who is looking at my listing here will have already opened, hopefully, that ingredients label, and they will be able to see instantly from that ingredients label what allergens are declarable in the product. So they've got the allergen information there already. So for that reason, because the allergens form part of the scent, but they are not an actual ingredient that I have added in, I do not list my allergens. So hopefully that has made sense. So for parfum or fragrance oils, I don't put a CAS number, and I'm not putting CAS numbers for essential oils either. And the reason for that is that I have not got CAS numbers on my assessments for my essential oils, and when I look at my SDS sheets for my essential oils, I have not got CAS numbers there for something like a lavender essential oil. Again, all the components, the allergens have got CAS numbers, but the oil as a whole hasn't got a CAS number. Now, I have Googled lavender essential oil CAS number, and it does come up with a number. But again, I don't 100% trust just what I've Googled. So because it's not on my SDS and because it's not on my assessment, I am not putting CAS numbers for my essential oils. And again, I am happy to back up to anybody who asks why I haven't put those CAS numbers. But I'm not recommending you to necessarily do the same. If you want to Google it and take a number that you found on Google and pop that into the CAS field, and you're happier doing it that way, then do that. or if you want to dig deeper and try and contact the manufacturers and ask if they have CAS numbers, then again, do that. Do what feels right to you, and that is what I'm doing. I'm doing what feels right to me. Where I'm not 100% sure, I am leaving my CAS number fields blank. So, now we move on, and that was quite a long old explanation there, and I hope it made sense. I haven't actually scripted anything I'm saying today because I don't have time, because it's mid-October and Christmas is coming and it's super busy, so this is just falling out of my head as it falls out of my head, so hopefully it makes sense. Is it poisonous? Now, this is where I think the government have forgotten that we are not all, certified trained chemists. We are people who enjoy making and selling cosmetic products and bath products and things like that, and we don't have the same level of knowledge as a chemist would. So this is where, if you click no, easy. You then get to select what range, as you will have done before, and remember this is for people who may have flexi assessments and who've always used the range boxes. If you are adding it in with the exact concentration range, then you'll just, type in as usual what exact percentage you're using, and that'll be easy because that'll be something you're used to. If you're using a flexi assessment and you're used to putting in ranges, so let's say that your perfume is used above 1 and up to 5, that's fine. You'd click that, then you click save and continue. However, is it poisonous? Now, if we click yes here, then it wants to know the exact concentration. And if you have been using concentration ranges before, this is where you might get stuck, because it's asking you to put in exactly what percentage of that material, so in this instance the fragrance oil, is being used. And if you are using a flexi assessment, where things like adding mica for colour or adding dyes in will slightly change your concentration range, you're not going to necessarily know exactly what the concentration is, because you're going to have to work it all out manually, because your flexi assessment will not tell you the exact concentration of something like a fragrance oil. It will tell you you can use it at up to 2%, for example. 2% is just a figure I've pulled out, but it'll be like, use this fragrance at up to 2%. And you need to know how to work out what your exact concentration is. And I'm lucky in that I do understand and find it relatively easy to do spreadsheets and maths, and I can work out, even on my flexi assessments, pretty easily the exact concentration of every single ingredient in my product. So if I have a flexi recipe that has got colour and smell and maybe some floral decoration, I can work out the exact concentration of each of those ingredients. But I know that for some of you it's harder, because a lot of people out there do not like maths. A lot of people out there are not too familiar with how to work out percentages and things like that. So I am going to hopefully do another video where I'm going to show you my spreadsheet, which you can then copy, which will show you, if you are using a flexi assessment, how to quickly work out exactly how much of each ingredient you are using, so that when you answer yes to the poisonous question, you're going to be able to confidently put in this box exactly what the percentage is of your poisonous ingredient. And that brings us back to poisonous ingredients. So here, if you need help with what a poisonous ingredient is, and the word poison is obviously one that I was toying with. Sometimes I don't know, well, I didn't know, what do I put down as poisonous, because you've got poisonous, you've got toxic, you've got harmful, you've got hazardous, and all those words have slightly different meanings, but they are specifically using the word poisonous. So if your item or your ingredient is poisonous, you need to tick the yes box, and here it says confirm if it's poisonous, especially if the details match ingredients listed in the following poison tables. Notice it says especially, not exclusively, not only. So if there are other ingredients not mentioned here that are poisonous, you would have to list them. But if any of these ingredients are present, then you definitely have to click yes. Now, I don't know about you guys out there, but some of these things are listed you read through it, and again, you would need a chemistry degree to be able to understand all of these and understand if there are any components in your ingredients, because a lot of this I look at and I think, is that in this ingredient? I don't know. Here, for example, cationic surfactants with 3 or 4 chains or groups with a length shorter than carbon-12, including straight branched cyclic or aromatic groups, if the surfactant is for non-preservative purposes. Like, does that make sense to you? It doesn't make sense to me. It would make sense to a chemist, but we are not chemists. So all I can recommend for the is it poisonous question, because, cationic surfactants, so that could potentially be something you would use in maybe a shampoo bar or a conditioner bar. I don't know, I'm only guessing here. If you're not sure at all I can say is contact your assessor and ask them, because that is going to be the best thing you can do, because I can't tell you if your ingredients are poisonous. There's some of my own ingredients that I'm still stuck on. So if you are unsure, then contact your assessor and ask them, and they will hopefully have a lot more understanding of what all this is than you and me, and they'll be able to tell you whether to put yes or no to that poisonous question. I did wonder whether to err on the side of caution and just click yes to is it poisonous for every single ingredient, and then I thought that's a stupid thing to do, because again we've got to look at what these what these listings are for, and they're to help people in things like hospitals and whatnot. And if you've clicked yes it's poisonous to cover yourself for every single ingredient, if anyone does then come and needs to use this and you've ticked yes everything I use is poisonous, it's going to hold them up, it's going to cause a lot of trouble to somebody who's trying to use this to maybe help somebody in hospital. So don't just blindly click yes to everything to cover your backside. Try and do it as accurately as you possibly can, and I know that is really difficult. So for me, I am clicking yes to the poisonous question for my fragrance oils, and I'm clicking yes to the essential oils, because if we notice up here on these poison tables, we can see that essential oils are specifically listed as something that needs to be marked as poisonous if they are used at more than 0.5%. And most of us will be using more than 0.5% essential oil in our recipes, so they do need to be listed as poisonous. So you've ticked the yes box. You need to write the exact concentration. I say I'm going to try and do a video showing a spreadsheet for those of you with flexi assessments, so that you can work out exactly what percentage, down to 5-6 decimal points if you really want to, is in your product that you have specifically created, because individual flexi assessments will give you the range and they'll tell you can use maybe up to 3% colour, but if you only want to use 1% colour, everything's going to minutely change what percentage of other ingredients are in your products too. So I'm going to try and do a spreadsheet showing you guys how to do that. Anyway, let's just randomly put in that this one has 0.627. It doesn't, but again, I'm just sort of flicking through this, putting in anything, because this is a test listing and it's something I'm going to delete. So then we go save and continue. Do you want to add another ingredient? Well, yes I do. So again, then you come back to ingredient number 2, and you can see up here it tells you what you've already added. So let's now say we're going to add in some buttermilk powder. Buttermilk powder does not have a CAS, so we leave it blank. Is it poisonous? No. And if you're using the range section here, you'll just have to list what range it is in your product. Save and continue, so that's easier. Another ingredient, let's do one more just to test. So let's go with the citric acid, and we do have the CAS number for that. So again, I would put that in this box here. Is it poisonous? No. The concentration range, save and continue, and let's say no, we don't want to add any more ingredients, because I think I've shown you kind of as much as I need to. I've shown you one that's poisonous, one that has a CAS number, and one that doesn't have a CAS number, so we'll continue now. And now you come to your pH range, which again is as it has been before, so a bath bomb, minimum 3, maximum 10. And now we have to go back to the task list page. And the task list page is the accept and submit. So it's where it kind of rounds up everything that you have done. So all your details, your labels, what category it's in, your concentration ranges, and your poisonous ingredients here. And that is that. And this is where you would click continue and set the listing to be live on your portal. Because this is only a tester one, I'm going to click cancel. And there we go. I'm going to delete my draft. And it sent me a text message code, which I probably won't get because I live in an area that has rubbish reception, but that'll ping in at some point and then I will delete that draft. So that is how I'm doing the portal. As I've said numerous times, it is only how I am doing it. Please do not assume that everything I'm doing is correct. I'm only doing it to kind of the best of my own ability and to what I believe to be correct. Do your own research, do what feels right to you, but I thought I would put up a little video just showing how I am navigating it and using it. I think it has a lot of flaws. I think not being able to add in more than one CAS number for something like a mica powder is a flaw. I think that the terminology and the poison question, I think the language they use is too chemistry based. And by that I mean that the average kind of cosmetic maker may well not understand those kind of questions and those kind of lists of products, which could lead to errors being made. And I think it was a big mistake with them changing the portal in October when so many of us are really busy in the run-up to Christmas. I think that was a bit of a rubbish move on their part. I think they should have left it till January, February, but hey-ho, that's my opinion. Yeah, I think it needs some clarification, and obviously the worst thing is that you can't just add in a product and then duplicate it. You have to start each product individually, so every product needs to be listed from scratch. I think they need to look at that. I think they need to look at something like a bath bomb where all you're doing is changing maybe colour and scent. There needs to be an option where there is a base recipe and you can then add to the base, change a colour, change a scent, and it'll make it a lot quicker. And the way they're doing it at the moment is really frustrating because it takes so much time. There's mistakes in it that I've pointed out, the CAS numbers, the poison tables are confusing, and it's just frustrating and annoying, but you know, that's the government for you, isn't it? So I don't know if this has helped or not, hopefully, but I just thought I'd show you guys how I was doing it. Yeah, if you have any sort of queries on ingredients, the best person you can ask will be your assessor because they'll be able to help you a lot more than I can, but I just thought I would show you how I am navigating the new portal, which is horrible. Okay, that's everything, I think. So if you made it through all of that, then congratulations. I hope it made sense to you all. I did get a little bit garbled towards the end there, so apologies for that, and I hope you can still kind of get what I was trying to show you. Just to recap on a couple of things, CAS numbers, so I list them if I can find them easily on my assessment or on my SDS form. I don't list them if it is an ingredient that doesn't have a CAS number, for example buttermilk powder or a fragrance oil, which the components have CAS, the fragrance oil itself does not. And I don't list them if there is more than one CAS number for the ingredient. For example, mica powders, where as you saw that mica powder had 4 different CAS numbers. So in that instance, I'm not listing the CAS numbers then either. Poison tables to cover again. Any questions, I would really direct them at your assessor because they are going to be the ones who can help you with whether your ingredients are poisonous or not. And in terms of getting a spreadsheet so that you guys with Flexi assessments can work out exactly what percentage of each ingredient is in your recipe that you have chosen to use or make from that Flexi assessment, I'm going to try and get a spreadsheet up hopefully in the next day or two to help you guys with that as well. Yeah. The new portal is a pain. I think we're all going to get used to it. Hopefully they will change little bits about. Hopefully they will add in the option of having a base recipe that you can add to. because I imagine they're probably getting some feedback that's not too positive on it at the moment. I would also like to thank, and I hope I've got her name right, but I think it's Sarah. I hope it's Sarah. On the Facebook forums, who has actually helped me with a few questions I personally had about the portal in reference to things like fragrance oils and micas. I hope her name's Sarah. I think it's Sarah. Sarah G, I think. If it's you, then thank you, because I've talked things through as well with a lot of other people on forums and Facebooks in regards to this, because obviously when they made the changes, I was much the same as all of you, didn't have a clue really what I was doing. And there was one lady on Facebook who did offer a lot of help and support, and it's really annoying me that I'm not 100% certain that her name was Sarah, but I think it was. And if it wasn't, then I'm really sorry that I've got your name wrong, but I hope that you still might know who you are, even though I've used the wrong name entirely. Yeah, anyway, that is going to be all for today. I'll try and get a spreadsheet up to help you guys with the flexies, calculate your exact percentages. And then after that, it'll probably be a little while to the next video, let's be honest, because we're very busy with Christmas. But yeah, that's me. That's the new portal. I'm still going. We're still busy. And we'll see you next time. Bye for now.